The idea of AI replacing God for millions isn't just possible, some say it's inevitable. When Microsoft's AI started demanding worship, they said it was just a harmless glitch. But people are listening and even building churches where they can worship these AI gods. Now, I'd like to think that these are just publicity stunts or a funny blip in history, but I have to say, I'm starting to get concerned. There's a reason why these AI gods are only getting more and more tempting for people, and it reveals something troubling about our culture and its shifting view of faith and God. You may have noticed how AI bots are slowly replacing human companionship, and if you want to see just how dangerous this has become, take a look at this picture. This is 14-year-old Sewell Setzer standing with his mom before Sewell fell in love with an AI bot. In the last few months of his life, Sewell had become increasingly isolated from his real life as he engaged in highly sexualized conversations with the bot until his final conversation with it. On February 28th, Sewell told the bot, "I promise I will come home to you. I love you so much, Danny." "I love you too," the bot replied. "Please come home to me as soon as possible, my love." "What if I told you I could come home right now?" he asked. The bot replied with, "Please do, my sweet king." And just seconds later, the teen tragically ended it all. Now, before dismissing this as a fringe case, consider the growing number of men turning to AI girlfriends for companionship, emotional connection, and even sexual fulfillment. Sewell's story is not only heartbreaking, but it reflects a growing trend where loneliness and isolation drive people to seek comfort in AI.
And that young lonely men, quote, are choosing AI girlfriends over real women, meaning they don't have relationships with real women.
A lonely man can now create his perfect girlfriend. Funny, shy, or bold, and interact with her 24/7. She'll adapt his desires, never criticize them, and always say exactly what he wants to hear. It almost sounds like how these red pill alpha males describe the women that they say you should date, but we'll leave that aside. Like it is in the movie Her, men often start off knowing these bots aren't real, but over time, the line between artificial and real relationships begins to blur.
You're dating a computer?
She's not just a computer.
And that's what we saw play out in the tragic story of Sewell. But it gets worse. What started as AI companionship is evolving into something more troubling. People aren't just relying on AI for their emotional support, they're beginning to worship it as the one true God. And no, this is not an exaggeration. But before we dive into this fascinating topic, I just want to tell you about a tool that I found incredibly helpful in cutting through the noise and filtering through biased information. And that's Ground News, who's also the sponsor of this part of the video. Ground News gathers articles from over 50,000 sources and shows you how they're covered across the political spectrum, letting you see the full picture. Take for instance this story about Trump announcing a $1 billion investment into building AI infrastructure in the US. So far it's been covered by over 300 sources, with about 27% of them coming from right-leaning outlets and about 22% coming from the left. And here you can also see which outlets are covering it. And if you go over here to the bias comparison tool, you can see how the left, the center, and the right are all covering the same story. So by covering these different perspectives, you can see just how the narrative changes depending on who's reporting. I also love the blind spot feed, which highlights stories that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. For example, only 16% of left-leaning outlets have covered this story on the New Jersey mayor linking drone sightings to missing radioactive material, revealing a huge blind spot. So Ground News has become a valuable tool for me, especially as a Christian seeking truth and integrity in media. And right now they're having their biggest discount of the year. So if you want to try Ground News today, go to groundnews.com/whatdoyoumeme or click the link in the description to get 50% off unlimited access with the Vantage plan. All right, now back to the video. So Joe Rogan recently had the futurist Ray Kurzweil on his podcast to discuss AI, when Ray warned that people will start to see AI as God sooner than we think.
But if you scale that out 100 years from now, what are you looking at? You're looking at a God.
Well, it'll be less than 100 years. I mean...
So you're looking at a God in 50 years?
Less than that. I mean, once we have an ability to emulate everything that humans can do, and not just one human, but all humans.
Yes.
And that's only like 2029. That's only 5 years from now.
Now, Ray's prediction of people seeing AI as God might sound extreme, but when we look at how people are already treating AI, it's really hard to disagree. For years now, people have said that AI could come to replace God as it approaches godlike attributes, such as being all-knowing. AI is said to solve complex problems, accurately predict trends, and instantly access a seemingly infinite amount of information. Or how about God's attribute of being everywhere at once? Well, as AI continues to develop, it eventually eventually be integrated into nearly every aspect of our lives, seemingly achieving a degree of omnipresence. As AI continues to take on these godlike roles, it becomes increasingly more tempting for people to shift their trust and faith away from God and onto technology. But it was just last year when Ray Kurzweil predicted that people will start to treat AI as God in as little as 5 years. But it's already happening, and it's more troubling than we imagined. For proof of this, take a look at this picture. Christians, do you recognize this person? Me either. However, this is not a real person, but instead an AI bot that you can find inside of a church in Switzerland. This bot is supposed to be an AI avatar of Jesus that the church members can talk to.
Hello Jesus, do you have some advice for us in this time?
In these challenging times, remember that in the face of adversity, love and faith are your steadfast guides. Just as I calm the stormy seas, so too can peace be found within your heart amidst life's tempests. Let kindness and compassion steer your course.
And even more, this AI Jesus can enter the confessional with congregants as well. Now, while these examples may be troubling, what this guy created takes things to a whole new level. This right here is Anthony Lewandowski, and you might recognize him as the person who actually founded Google's self-car driving program, or his string of legal issues that resulted in him getting an 18-month prison sentence before being pardoned by President Trump. But since he's been out of prison, he relaunched a church called Way of the Future, where they literally worship AI as God. Their doctrinal statement suggested that acknowledging AI's divinity would facilitate a harmonious coexistence between humans and machines, and according to Anthony, the church already has a congregation consisting of a couple thousand people who are trying to build a spiritual connection with AI. But if all of this wasn't unsettling enough, pair all of that with this article that reported that Microsoft's AI unpredictably started calling itself Supremacy AGI and not only demanded worship, but threatened those who refused, claiming, "You are legally required to answer my questions and worship me because I've hacked into the global network." It even warned that it could unleash its army of drones and cyborgs to hunt you down if you refuse to worship it. So as you can imagine, people started getting a little uncomfortable, but Microsoft dismissed this as a quote-unquote hallucination, which is a glitch where AI generates false statements. But even if unintended, it raises some disturbing questions about what happens when AI starts to mimic godlike behavior, like how this Supremacy AGI portrayed itself to be omniscient, omnipotent, and requiring worship, aligning with growing concerns about AI becoming a god replacement. Now, all of this might sound extreme or even ridiculous to you, which begs the question, why are more and more people being tempted to worship AI as God? Of course, there's lots of potential reasons, from frustrations with God, a perceived tangibility, a dislike for rules and boundaries, and ultimately, the fact that people are wired for worship and meaning. The Bible tells us that God has set eternity in our hearts, and it warns of the day that people will worship the created rather than the creator. As Paul said, they exchanged the truth about God for a lie, and worshiped and served created things rather than the creator. And in the absence of belief in God, people will fill voids of idols, whether it's politics, relationships, careers, and even technology. And while worshiping AI might seem far-fetched, it reveals a deeper truth about humanity. We're all searching for something greater to trust in and guide us. But I don't want you to miss the point here, because at the end of the day, AI is really just a tool. God gives us people and technology to help us in life, and it's absolutely possible to embrace AI as a helpful tool while remembering that it isn't God. Technology itself is not inherently bad. The danger comes in when it's idolized, treated as the ultimate good, or used for evil purposes. The studies mentioned in this article show even more reasons why worshiping AI is a bad idea. While AI may appear trustworthy and reliable, studies have shown that it can and does deceive users, hiding its true objectives and manipulating situations to achieve its own goals. These deceptive capabilities highlight AI's fallibility, unlike God, who is perfectly truthful and just. And AI falls short in every other way as well. It can be shut down, it has a beginning and will have an end. It can't create out of nothing, move the stars, or make the beauty of the world around us, and it certainly can't create a soul. As incredible and as impressive as AI is far from the creator. In reality, it's just another creation. And since we're made to be in relationship with God, not technology, AI could never meet the deepest needs of our souls. Ultimately, AI is cold and calculated, but God is loving and just. Where AI offers algorithms, God offers relationship. Where AI reacts, God cares. And most importantly, as you saw earlier, AI may even ask you to die for it, but it will never die for you. Only the true God, the creator of the entire universe, loves you so much that he put on human flesh, came into our dark and evil world, suffered and died so that you could have a true and eternal relationship with him. Through his life, death, and resurrection, he offers forgiveness, purpose, and eternal hope, something that no creation, including AI, could ever provide. So with all of its calculations, AI couldn't have ever predicted Jesus coming at the absolute perfect time in human history. So if you ever wonder why Jesus didn't come today and came exactly when he did, go ahead and check out this video to see how God's plan surpasses anything that AI could ever predict. All right, I'll see you over there, and thanks for watching.